Before you get panicked by the title of the video, I want to make it clear that there hasn't actually been any official information that says that Ananta is not going to get a beta. But this is a little bit of speculation that I'm going to make based off one of my previous videos that I made earlier this year. And by the way, just before I get into the video, for those of you who registered for the NTE beta test, the devs of NTE have started to give out access. So you can go to your emails right now to check if you've gained access to the beta. Now, the date that I'm recording this is the 30th of June. So between the 30th of June and the 1st of June, if you check your email and you haven't gotten an email telling you that you gained access to the beta, you most likely didn't get access to that beta. So unfortunately, you have to watch other people play. But if you did get access, congrats. I hope you guys can enjoy the beta. But with all of that being said, let's talk about why I think that Ananta may not give us a beta, at least not in the way that we think. Hey, what is up guys, it's Mordant. Now, if you're interested in news videos, challenge videos, discussion videos, and lore videos for any of the games that you can see on screen right now, then please consider subscribing to the channel. The goal for the year is 5,000 subscribers. But with all of that being said, let's get back to the content properly this time around. So, earlier this year, I made a video titled Why We Haven't Seen Any Gameplay from Ananta ever since it was launched. And in that video, I made two theories, and while I'm not going to go over those two theories right now, I will talk about one of them because that is what I'm going to use for this video. So one of the theories that I made in that video is that one of the main reasons why we haven't seen any form of gameplay from Ananta ever since it was announced was because of the inspiration that the game gets. And what that means is, if you pay attention, one of the things that I've said about Ananta is that it's a game that takes a lot of inspiration from Spider-Man, Cyberpunk, and Grand Theft Auto, to be precise. And if you pay attention to these three games, you will notice that there's a pattern that these games have that Ananta seems to be following, which is the fact that these games have never actually shown us any form of gameplay until very, very close to when they are about to launch. Take for instance, Grand Theft Auto 6. We've seen two trailers from Grand Theft Auto 6, but we haven't actually seen any proper gameplay with the HUD or anything. We don't know how the map looks. We don't know how actual gameplay looks. We don't know anything. We've only had the cinematic trailers. Now, some people can argue for the fact that some of these scenes that are shown in the Grand Theft Auto 5 trailer are actually rendered in-game. But at the same time, it's still not proper gameplay. Like when I talk about proper gameplay, I want to see the HUD, I want to see the animations, I want to see how the game actually feels if someone was playing it. I don't want to see something that could probably be mistaken for a pre-rendered cutscene, okay? And yes, I know that if some people actually mistake this to be a pre-rendered cutscene, then that speaks a lot about how good the game looks graphically, but still. What we're interested in is gameplay, and we have not gotten gameplay. The same thing applies to the Spider-Man games. Take for instance the Insomniac Spider-Man games, which is where I think they took a lot of inspiration for these stealth missions. You can see that we don't really see gameplay for any of those games until when we are very, very, very close to the launch of the game. That's when the marketing starts to ramp up, and that's when you start to see the devs actually showing us a ton of things about the game. And when I thought about this, it got me thinking, if Ananta is going the exact same route as all of these games, doesn't that mean that we won't actually see a beta for Ananta? Now, if you think about it logically, all of these games do have their own tests, but these tests aren't like public tests that everybody can actually participate in. These are tests that are held within the company in a controlled environment. They run these tests and then they are able to take the feedback from the testers, put them under an NDA and say, you guys aren't allowed to share any of the information that you have seen here until basically ever, because I don't think I've ever heard of anyone who after the game launched came out to say that they play tested the game. I don't see why you would actually come to tell us that you play tested the game before it launched, but okay. Now, there are some exceptions. Like, for example, they can take the game to a convention to allow people to actually play the game, but then they don't actually allow you to like show gameplay. Even if they do allow you to show gameplay, they will most probably not allow you to record your own gameplay. They'll most likely tell you that you have to use pre-rendered scenes that they've already given you. And if you look at what Ananta has done so far, it feels eerily very similar. Like last year December, they gave us a trailer, and basically they were trying to tease the fact that they wanted to hold a beta test. But then all of a sudden, they just changed their plans, and they changed it to a private test where every single person who participated in that test got slapped with an NDA. They're not allowed to actually show anything, and they're not technically allowed to actually share anything that they actually saw in that beta test, which is very similar to all of the other games I just talked about. So with that in mind, with NTE now doing its beta test very soon, I'm actually anticipating that Ananta is going to show us something, and the reason for that is tied to my second theory in that video. If you want to see what that is, just go and watch that video. It should be linked somewhere above again. But if that's the case, then they'll most probably just give us yet another trailer, but there is a very small chance that they may actually show us gameplay, but they don't actually announce a beta. What do I mean? Now, while I was still thinking of this video idea, I got linked a post from one of the OGs of my channel. I really appreciate this guy because he's linked me to a ton of awesome stuff. I really appreciate you, man. If you're watching this part of the video, I really appreciate you. But he linked me to this video from Ananta News where they were talking about hiring people who could do marketing for them for TGS, which is coming in September. And when I saw that, it sort of like set alarm bells off in my head, because what I think is actually going to happen is that they're actually going to probably bring the game to TGS and allow people who are actually participating in TGS to actually be able to play the game. Now, if this happens, there's one of two things that I think could happen. One of them, which I think is going to be the most likely one, is that they're going to do something very similar to what I was just talking about in the other part of the video, where they allow people to be able to record gameplay, but then for content creators, they tell them that you guys will not be able to actually record gameplay on your own. What we will do though is that we will give you gameplay that you guys can actually use to show to your audiences. And basically you can make your comments about the game, give your feedback and all of that based off what you played. But if you want to show your audience anything, you have to use this particular gameplay that we're going to give you. That is the first and most likely thing that is going to happen. But the second thing is probably going to be something that is similar to what Wuthering Waves did when it was close to launch. So when Wuthering Waves was close to launching, Kuro Games would carry Wuthering Waves over to one of these events, and then you would just be able to fight against only holograms in the game. So basically, you're not allowed to go out into the open world to explore. It's just the limited area where you can keep testing out the combat. And honestly, I feel like that is very unlikely, because Wuthering Waves was a game that focused a lot on the combat. So it worked very well for you to just have a place where you can actually try out the combat. But a game like Ananta is a game that focuses on being like a GTA-like experience, and what makes a good GTA-like experience is the open world as well as the story. At least that's what I believe makes a good GTA-like experience. So for you to be able to do that, you have to create an open world where people can actually explore, or you give them a mission that allows them to see a large chunk of the mechanics that are available in the game. But then if that's the case, that still is not going to be a beta. And mind you, the license that Ananta has is going to expire in December of this year, which means that even if they go to TGS right now to announce a beta, that will basically give them, at the bare minimum, 3 months to actually implement everything that everybody is going to give them as feedback in that beta. Now, what if they decide to announce a beta, say in July, right after NTE is done with their beta? Then I guess that gives them a little bit more time, but I just don't feel like they're going to give us a beta. I am welcome to be wrong, but I really think they're not going to give us a beta. But let me hear all of your thoughts about all of these things I've talked about down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to join my hideout, which is my Discord server, and also to make sure to subscribe to the channel. All the links are in the description. But with all of that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.